Fuel making. Let's talk about fuel making. The making of charcoal liberates all kinds of gases and liquids that can then be modified or refined and be burned directly in cars. Methanol is the type of fuel that you're after. Ethanol is made by fermentation, and usually fermentation of cereals or food products. It has to be converted, and then actually you're making is liquor when you're making ethanol. And then this has to be further refined because you're not really after liquor. You have to do a lot of other things to it. It's a real problem because it can really mess up your vehicle if you don't get it just as clean as possible. Whereas methanol, a byproduct of pyrolysis, it's also another form of distillation, but it's a much simpler and much cleaner fuel when you're done. The problem with alcohol fuels is that they're water soluble, so they have to be dried and they have to be kept dried. I have a book called Alcohol Magic, which draws on about 5 publications that I know of, including the Nazi recipes that they used during World War II, because petroleum gas became very restricted during World War II. It became a weapon of war. Actually, if you had it, you could do war. If you didn't, you could not. And the Japanese had the same problem, and they say that maybe Pearl Harbor was fought because of a problem with oil. That's what started World War II, but really who started World War II was the bankers, of course, but we're getting off they start all the wars because it's big money, and mostly those idiots can't make industry work unless they've got a war machine going, and that's just the bottom line. That's just the way they are. Back to fuel. The Nazis had to make all kinds of different fuels for their vehicles, and they were just like they always have been. The Germans, highly innovative, highly inventive. They perfected it, and in my book I have all those recipes. I have gasohol from the government. I have biodiesel from various experimenters. Biodiesel is your best fuel as far as making it for yourself. It's the easiest, the cleanest, the most problem-free fuel. Of course, you need a diesel engine to run it. Hemp is one of the greatest producers of vegetable matter that can be, through pyrolysis, turned to methanol. This is why hemp is illegal. Also because it makes the best paper in the world. It's not because of the drug effects of the flowers, and those plants have to be specially cultivated just to get a euphoric feeling from using the flowers of the hemp plant. That's secondary, and it's really, it's a great drug for people who need it, and it's also an enjoyable drug as far as the euphoric is concerned. It's got alcohol beat hands down. It's not physically debilitative if it's used right, and it doesn't foster the medical industry. It actually slows it way down, and we can't have that, because this medical industry, along with illegal drugs, runs our world as it is right now. It's the people a few people have taken over drugs and medicine, and they run the world, and don't think that it's anything other than that. All the other things, including the currency, are subsidiary to that, because people are aware of health. That's something they feel daily, and they're going to put high importance on it, and that's just the way it is. It's actually, and the people that are in control know all this. They are also right down on the second tier, in control of illegal drugs, pharmaceuticals, and fuels, energy. So the making of energy, the making of gasoline is possible, but it's costly. Okay, it's not very cost effective. It's costly. So to set up a still, to get the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms out there to inspect your still is going to cost you money. It's going to cost you money for permits. You're going to have to denature any of your ethanol product, which means add gasoline to it. And methanol products should be mixed 50-50 with petroleum gasoline because of the way the cars are set up now. Also, biodiesel should be mixed 50-50 with petroleum diesel because that makes it easier starting. Although this can all be overcome if we were to ever go to biodiesel or biological methanol production. And it's quite possible that we could do it. And of course, once we get it down and once we get it to where it needs to be, the cost will go way down from what it is right now. What they've been able to do, though, is keep petroleum just under the cost that would tip the scales, would make methanol production cost effective. So once gasoline goes over $4 a gallon, once it went over $2, a lot of people started doing it just to be ornery. And I love those people. You know, a lot of farmers and stuff, they just set up their own methanol or even ethanol, the guys that had excess corn and other types of vegetables and just basic biomass to process, set it up so that they would be able to, and some of them are doing methane too. That's big in the Orient, I'm told. So don't think that just because these people tell you they own you, that they really do own you. The thing that got me most was that when Obama got in, he took all those old cars off, and that wasn't to give you a break, and it wasn't for fuel efficiency. It was because those cars were so reliable and made so well that they would be here for another century. Now they're all in the trash heap. Now they're all crushed. Now you got these little disposable things that, you know, a little piece of plastic in the motor is going to cost you 30 or 40 bucks, and you're going to need it every 5 years. It's just the way they plan things. It's called planned obsolescence. And your fuel use and your fuel consumption, same thing as use, but your fuel consumption and the fuel availability is where they have you. And you still have to travel to work. You still have to travel here and there. It's a travel economy, and they have you. So keep your eye out for ways to make your own fuel. Start studying up on it. Understand the processes. It's not hard. When the time comes, be ready.